What's up, people? It's your boy Blue Forche, and you're watching the Blue Forche channel, television channel. Um, yeah, let's get straight into this review of Chelsea versus Brentford. As you well know by now, we did not capitalize on 3 points this weekend, and seems like other teams did, and we didn't. Um, we played a 4-2-3-1 formation, which I didn't know what formation we was going to play, but I did know roughly the team sheet and what was going to be played. Sanchez returned in place of Philip Jorgensen. Reece James played at right back. Trevor Chalobah right centre back. Achimpong played left centre back. Kukurea played at left back. There was a return, surprisingly, for Fernandes. I didn't think Fernandes, that there were reports that Fernandes was not going to return, but he did. He played left central midfield. Caicedo playing on the right of the central midfield. We had Garnacho on the left wing, which I didn't know what we was going to do up front regarding attacking, but Garnacho played on the left wing. Pedro played in the 10, and Pedro Neto played on the right wing. And we had Mark Guiu play up front for us. Sunderland, I was going to say Brentford, but Sunderland played a 5-4-1 formation. Hume at right back, Mukalele, Ballard, and Gertrude, sorry, I can't pronounce it. Gertruda, sorry. And Mandava played at left back. They had, forget the goalkeeper's name, in goal. Traore, Xhaka, Siddiqui, and Lefi all played as part of a four-man midfield with Isidore up front. And, 5-4-1, that formation, is packed, which means, they're not really looking to do much attacking. So in a way, we should have beat them. In the first half, I felt like we played. Some people say we didn't play well in the first half. We did. We played very well in the first half. Garnacho scored in the first 4 minutes to put us ahead. I do think that Garnacho is proving more and more that I guess he's the only one looking like really like he really wants to score and really wants to attack sometimes. Although I do feel that Gittins should start ahead of him, or Gittins should definitely come on a lot earlier for him in games, especially games like that. I do think Tyreek George should come on for Esteval. If Pedro Neto his form so far has been a bit topsy-turvy. Last week against Nottingham Forest, he's he's mashing work. He's really he scored a free kick. He assisted. He's playing really well. And then this week we have the same problem with inconsistency. He just wasn't really what he was last week. We had 68% possession, Sunderland 32%. We had 16 shots on goal. Sunderland had 10. 7 on target for us, 4 on target for Sunderland. 9 corners for us, 9 set pieces, 1 corner for Sunderland, and 2 big saves from us and 6 from Sunderland. In terms of shots on target, we had 7 on target out of a total 16 shots, 5 off target. Out of 10 shots on target for Sunderland, they had 4 on target and 2 off target. I don't know, what can I say? total passes, 629 passes with a 90% completion rate for Chelsea, 629. 293 for Sunderland. They hardly had any of the ball. 78% pass completion for them. 39 long passes for us. I think the long passes we do need to improve a great deal. 49 for Sunderland. The service to Garnacho from Pedro Neto was atrocious this weekend. 802 touches for us, 461 for Sunderland. I'll say it again, Neto's distribution towards Garnacho was woeful. Yeah, this weekend. We could have buried many more chances. Our discipline this week, no red cards for Sunderland, 1 yellow card apiece for either team, 15 fouls for us, 13 for Sunderland, 3 offsides for us and 2 offsides for Sunderland. Definitely we were a lot more disciplined and measured and everything else. But I don't know how we lose that game. Anyway, we scored in the 4th minute, like I said before, Garnacho, and then Isidore equalised for Sunderland in the 22nd minute. And the game was open. It was open. It was there for us to come back into the game. It's one apiece. You just think all we need is a tap in, a set piece, or a rocket from somebody, and it just didn't happen. Talby scored in the 3rd minute of extra time to make it 2-1 for Sunderland. But this game was crazy, man. It was really crazy. The 2 things that were wrong, 2 key things. One was to bring off Achimpong. I know that he's 19 years of age, but he definitely needs to get a full 90 minutes. I know there might have been risk of injury or whatever, tiredness, that kind of thing, but he should have played. He should have stayed on the pitch for definite. I think the decision to bring off Garnacho after 58 minutes for Esteval is one thing, but Neto should have been taken off as well. I do think to bring on Tyreek George in the 85th minute, bring on Andre Santos in the 85th minute for Pedro to play in the 10. That wasn't bad. These are not bad decisions. It's just the timing. He needs definitely the decisions were okay, but they were just too late. I don't know with Gittins. Gittins came on for Guiu, in the 76th minute as well. I do think possibly he should have started definitely ahead. I would have said if he would have started ahead of Garnacho and Garnacho comes off the bench, even if we were, say, 1-0 down by that time, I do think Garnacho would have come on and equalised and possibly assisted a winning goal. But it was just wrong tactics from Maresca. Maresca's team sheets are a little bit wrong. He should just go for it, not think defensively and everything else. We got the defence covered. To bring on Tosin for Achimpong was a silly idea. Like I said, I know he is 19 and you don't want to risk injury. Why not take off Chalobah maybe for Tosin? You know what I mean? Swap them round, put Achimpong in at right centre back, Chalobah at left centre back, and then bring on Tosin for Chalobah. Although people said people blamed Chalobah for the defeat. Not really. I can't really say that. I can't really say it was anybody's fault, clearly. But I do think with our team, there are some players that have to step up. Definitely those in the starting lineup. I'm not saying that Cucurella and James didn't do anything, because they did, but I feel like um, they will need to step up more in games like this. Caicedo, as much as I like him and he's been solid for us, we'd like to see more of what you did against Ajax, more of what you did against Liverpool. Um, NATO, like I say, he's good one week, and then the next week is, I can't explain it, but it was a silly game to lose, and especially with the teams that lost this weekend, which I'll explain in a minute. It was silly of us not to capitalize on 3 points. But anyway, look, we've got Spurs next, and then the week after we've got Brighton. So next week is Spurs, and then the week after that is Brighton. We will have to definitely step up, and the distribution to the wings, especially Garnacho. He The passing towards him needs to improve as well. You know what I mean? Because I've seen him chase some balls down the sideline. They always go out, or the byline, and I can't really say he's at fault for that. You know, he needs proper service as well. They all need proper service. Esteval, we need to get a bit more creative in thinking. I did like Pedro in the 10, although I did like Guiu up front, although I do say Guiu played, obviously, because he played for Sunderland before we got him back off loan. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. Maybe it was better to play. If he was going to play Santos, you should have played Santos in the 10 from earlier, a lot earlier than that. Maybe bought on Pedro for Guiu. You know what I mean? Maybe give Pedro a bit of a rest for the first half and then bring him on second half. Again, I don't know what Maresca's thinking. I have to blame Maresca for that one. But I also have to blame the team as well for not stepping up in a game like that. I can't really get mad at Jarrell Hato or Lavia or Fofana because they haven't featured. They didn't feature in that game. Fofana may need to come into the team and feature. I'm not saying to break it up, but definitely, if you're going to bring on anybody, bring on Fofana. At least Fofana from a set piece is going to get a header, going to get something on the end of the ball, and maybe start getting ahead of Garnacho, or I don't know, with Garnacho, if you're going to start him, definitely the time he came off was right, but I feel like NATO should have come off at the same time, and he should have come off for he should have come off for Esteval a lot earlier than that. Or maybe Tyreek George needs to start ahead. But something, we need to do something. We need to change around the team sheet a little bit, and definitely change around how we do our substitutions. But I'm gonna leave it there, man. Next we lost. We have to go back to the drawing board, and yeah, it's gonna get it's going to get really real from next week. We got Tottenham, and then we got Brighton after that. Also on Saturday, Newcastle and Fulham played. Boy, I watched. I managed to watch all of them, but I didn't watch that one live. I watched Man United live, and I watched the Liverpool game afterwards. But yeah, I saw Newcastle the rerun. Jacob Murphy scoring in the 18th minute for Newcastle to bring him 1-0 up at half time. Lucic scored in the 56th minute to equalise for Fulham in the second half. And Bruno scored in the 90th minute for Newcastle to make it 2-1. They capitalised on a win, and that's the game they should have won. I also got think I got all my predictions right on Saturday except for Chelsea. Except for our prediction, I got that one wrong, but all the other three I got right. Man United, Brighton, I got that one right. I said that Man United should have beaten Brighton, and they did. Um, Half time, it was they were 2-0 up. Matheus Cunha and Casemiro, bringing them scoring in the 24th minute. Cunha and Casemiro scoring in the 34th minute to put them up. And then the second half, Embuemo scored in the 61st minute to bring them 3-0 up. And Danny Welbeck scored in the 74th minute to bring Brighton back into the game. And then Costulas scored in the second minute of extra time to really scare Man United to make it 3-2. And then Buemo, again, 3 minutes later, and the 6th minute of extra time, he scored a very crucial goal for them to win the game. And they will take great confidence now, and they will move on. I think I'm going to talk about the table in a minute, but that was a crucial game for them. My other prediction I got right, which everybody was mad at me for, was Brentford versus Liverpool. Sorry, Brentford versus Liverpool. That was 3-2, 2-1 at half time. Uatara, sorry, scoring in the 5th minute. And then it was, who was it after that? Sade scored in the 45th minute, and Perkis scored in the 5th minute of extra time in the first half to make it 2-1 at half time. And then after that, it was Igor Thiago who scored a penalty in the 60th minute, and Mohamed Salah scumbagged the goal. Good goal, but scumbagged the goal in the 89th minute to try and, spare the blushes of Liverpool, but it was too late by then. I did say that Liverpool would lose to Brentford, and that happened. Everything happened. Everything I said came to pass, except for on Sunday, which I'll show you. Bournemouth played Nottingham Forest. I got that one right. Tavernier scored in the 25th minute, and Krupi scored in the 40th minute to bring Bournemouth 2-0 up at half time. They all played really well. It was a great goal from, I think it was from the corner, was it not? One of them? I think it was Tavernier scored it from the corner. That was an amazing goal. After that, Arsenal had played Palace. I thought Palace could have. I really wanted them to win. I thought they might have caused an upset, but they didn't. Arsenal's defense just is the best in the league. I did predict at the beginning of the season, I did say that Arsenal would win the Premiership. I did think that they were the strongest. They got the strongest defense. Arabici Eze scored in the 39th minute to put them up, and they just attacked. They didn't just defend and park the bus. They actually went on to try and win to get more goals, and it didn't happen for them, but they still won the game 1-0. Aston Villa, they won. Matty Cash, a brilliant goal as well. That was the one I got wrong. I said Man City would have beaten Villa, but Villa seem to have taken a lot of confidence, and they are playing in Europe. They're playing a lot better. And it doesn't surprise me. They should be where they are. But yeah, Man City, you'd think if we would have beaten Sunderland this weekend, maybe something else, we could have done something. But yeah. Anyway, Man City lost. Yeah, Cash scored in the 19th minute. Wolves play Burnley. I did say that Burnley would be too strong. They got a good manager. They got a good team. Scott Parker managed to do his thing, and so did the team. I think it was Fleming who scored in the 14th minute, and then he scored after that in the 30th minute to put Burnley 2-0 up. Larson scored a penalty in the 42nd minute. Munetsi scored in the 4th minute of extra time in the first half to draw level to make it 2-2. And then Foster scored in the 5th minute of extra time to put Burnley up 3-2. And the last one that I predicted, which came true, everyone came true except for Man City and Chelsea, but everyone else I got right. Everton hosting Tottenham at Goodison Park. Yeah, it finished 3-0. At halftime, it was 2-0 from Van de Ven. He scored in the 19th minute and he scored in the 6th minute of extra time in the first half. Both from set pieces, both headers from set pieces. And then Papi Sarr scored in the 89th minute to put him 3-0 up. And, like you look at that and you think to yourself, what does that mean for the table? Well, Arsenal are top, obviously, 22 points. Bournemouth are now second on 18. Tottenham are now third with that win. They're third on 17 points. Sunderland now move above us to 4th place with 17 points. Man City losing, they go down to 5th place on 16 points. Man United are now 6th place. Man City are in 5th place, on 16 points. Man United are in 6th place on 16 points also. Liverpool are now 7th place on 15. Aston Villa are now in 8th place on 15 points. And Chelsea, us, look where we are, 14 points, 9th place. Definitely, if we would have won, we would have been where Sunderland are. We would have been 4th place and breathing down the neck of Arsenal and Bournemouth and Tottenham. But yeah, it wasn't to be. Crystal Palace are in 10th place on 13 points. Brentford, 11th place on 13 points. Newcastle are in 12th place on 12 points. Brighton in 13th place with 12 points. You've got Everton now in 14th place on 11 points. Leeds' win over, West Ham. They go up to 15th place on 11 points. Burnley's win takes them to 16th place, just two above their relegation zone. They're on 10 points. Fulham are now in 17th place with 8 points. Nottingham Forest are now in the relegation zone on 5 points. West Ham in 19th place with 4 points, and then Wolves still are where they are due to that loss. So it's the Premiership's starting to take more shape. Like I said, at the end of November or mid-November, I'll definitely know who's roughly going to win. But the way it's looking now, I'm not saying that we can't do something, because I've seen in previous years that you could be 8th or 9th place in October, and then by December, you know what I mean, you're not top, but you're like in 3rd place, and then January, February, you're top. We definitely can't afford to lose any games. We can't even afford to any more draws anymore. We really do have to keep up a winning pace, because again, I can blame Maresca, because Maresca is at fault for his decisions that cost us the game, but also equally so, the players have to step up. So I'm going to leave it there, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If not, like, comment, share, subscribe. Do comment. You know, don't just laugh and try and clip me and everything else. Do comment. It helps the analytics and engagement, but that's all about to change for me anyway. I know usually with YouTube it'll be quiet for about at least 6 months, and then after that everything changes. But let me know what you think eventually when you eventually do see this video in the recommended. I'm out.